I have been obsessed with this wood bend right here for over half my life. I've played this guitar a ton, I've stared at it a lot, and I've always wondered how they did it. Today, we're going to figure that out and build this. This is an 1/8-inch piece of Baltic birch plywood. It's wrapped around this 3D printed form, and it fits nice and snug. There's no glue. We just get it wet, let it dry in place, and I think it turned out pretty great. So let's jump into it. We're going to start by ripping the wood down into 4-inch strips on the table saw. This is one of the most versatile tools I have. It's also one of the scariest tools I have. Last week I had a piece of plywood bite and spin, and it pulled my hands around very fast and was quite terrifying. At this point, we're pretty safe. We've got all the wood cut down into the size we need, and the rest of the time we're going to be using a sled that should keep us pretty safe for the rest of this. So there's our 4-inch wood strips, and we're going to start printing out a template. So I took that 3D model and put it in Blender, used this paper model plugin, exported it as a PDF, opened it up into Affinity Publisher, resized it, did what I needed to, and now we have it on paper. These little dots on the page are the areas where we are supposed to bend, so those will come in very handy, but right now we're just going to mark out the length of it so we can get our little strips that we need. Here's our sled. This is just to kind of keep things safe. So it's all very controlled. It has these feet that sit in those grooves you can see, and keeps things where you'd expect them to be. Now we're just going to adjust the saw height so that we can cut part of the way through this, but not all of the way through. We want to get a little over halfway. These sheets of plywood are made up of 3 layers, and we want to get through 1.5 of the layers. If we go too deep, it's going to snap real easy. If we don't go deep enough, it's not going to bend. This one snapped because we went too deep. So we're going to try again. And this one's looking pretty good. I think we're going to keep this height dialed in and kind of go for it. So now all those spots where you saw those dotted lines, or those dots on this page, we're going to mark where those sections start and stop, and then take cuts through it and try and be as consistent as we can with the space between the cuts. These are called kerfs, K-E-R-F. And it's a pretty common thing, but not that common for wood this thin. But you can see here, it's already bending on its own. So I take that as a very good sign. All right, so we have the kettle on now. The hot water is going to soften the wood. It should hopefully be cut through enough that we can fully just penetrate into all of the wood fibers where we need it to bend and not turn the rest of the piece into mush. So it's starting to soften. Here you can see me bending it. So I pull out the mold, wrap it around, and I have to call my wife in to come help me tape it because I don't have 4 hands. There's my beautiful wife and her hands helping me tape this together. And next up, we're just gonna kind of let this dry in the mold and see how it does. So after all that, we end up with this. It's wrapped up in duct tape. I cut it off. I let it dry for about a week, but then I cut it off. And this is what we ended up with. It's this beautiful thing right here. Let me bring my microphone. I think it looks pretty nice. I think it came out pretty great. This is for this project called Desk Thing. It gives you notifications via this thing. It has an LED and a screen on it. I think it'd look a lot cooler if it was made out of wood, so I'm trying to do that. But if you're interested, do that YouTube thing, give me a subscribe and a like, and I'll catch you on the next one.